Hi, my name is Rich Kettner. Welcome to Starry Night Guitars. I want to do a video about this new guitar I just got. So hey, welcome. If any of you are subscribed to my channel, you've seen that I have been on a journey kind of, I'm 66, I'll be 67 in January. And I have some back issues and some pain, neck pain. I've had both broken collarbones. And so I'm kind of on this journey to get lighter guitars. And about 6 months ago, I bought a Fender Squier Telecaster, the Classic Vibe 50. And I love it. It's a great little guitar. And after getting that, I kind of thought, man, this is awesome, but it's kind of heavy. And I have my two main guitars that I play is an Eastman John Pisano 380. It's about this thick, fully hollow, beautiful guitar. And I also have an Eastman T59V, which is kind of their version of a 335. I absolutely love that guitar, except it's heavy. It has the big center block, and I wish it was fully hollow. So I'm thinking of, I like the Telecaster so much, I thought I would love to get a thin line. And because I've enjoyed the Squier, I thought, I've been looking online on Facebook Marketplace, and I found this guitar. So it is a Fender Squier, and it is semi-hollow. Now, I take it back. It's really not semi-hollow. It has F-holes. It's pretty solid, but it only weighs like 5 pounds. It's super light. And I gotta say, I love this guitar. It just has single coils. Now, I bought it used from some guy off Facebook. As I said, I bought it off Facebook Marketplace. No hard case, and it's made in China, right? Which my Eastmans are made in China, so I have no issues with guitars made in China. I know when I grew up, like I said, I'm 66, so I went through the phase when I was a kid, Japanese guitars were crap. They were junk. You'd see guitars with 5 and 6 pickups, and they were not very good. And then suddenly in the late 70s, Japanese figured it out and started making amazing guitars. And at the head of the pack was Ibanez. And I remember for me, early 80s, or maybe I think it was 79 maybe, I bought a George Benson Ibanez. I really wanted a Gibson ES-175, but I needed a flight case. At the time I was in the Marine Corps, in the Marine Band, and I traveled quite a bit with them playing guitar in the jazz band. So I said, I need a flight case. And they said, well, that'll be another couple $100. But they had this Ibanez guitar comes with a flight case, and it turned out to be a George Benson. So I got it, and I loved it. My problem, it wasn't quite enough of a jazz guitar for me, and yet when I started playing show music, I couldn't do pop tunes or rock tunes. I couldn't play it loud, it would feedback. So I ended up selling it for something else. Anyway, back to my original point. Late 70s, early 80s, Ibanez really figured it out and started making incredible guitars. So that was Japan. And then a decade or two later, as Ibanez became big, they're now one of the big guitar companies. Seemed like guitars moved to Indonesia, and then after that, or Korea, and a decade after that, guitars are now being made in China. So I know some people are really off of that, the idea of guitars being made in China, or slave labor, or for political reasons, they have concerns. For me, that's a non-issue. I just love the fact that this is a great little guitar. It plays really well. I haven't even had it set up yet. It's got pretty thin strings on it. And I'm thinking I might put flats on it. Actually, the one I had, the Classic Vibe, came with 50s. There was a guy, I live in Southern Arizona, and a guy I bought it from lived in Tucson, which is about an hour and a half away from me. And he is I guess a guitar tech, right? He bought the guitar for whatever reason, set it up with flats, the other one, the Classic Vibe, and it played really well. Had a kind of a weird issue with the nut, but it still played very nice. Now I've taken the flats off. I'm thinking of putting them on this guitar because I still have my other guitars for jazz, but my ultimate goal is thinking if I really dig this guitar, possibly of selling some of my other guitars to get a really nice, expensive thin line Tele. Now that's my thought process, and yet I have to say, I've got this guitar. I play it through my amp. I have a Henriksen, the Henriksen Blue, which is a tiny little amp. amazing jazz amp. And I mainly just play solo guitar stuff. So I've played this guitar through that. It sounds great. So why I'm saying I would love to get the thin line, you know, the real Telecaster. I'm not hung up on the fact that this says Squier. You know, I'm reminded of, I've seen videos about this guy named Jack Pearson who lives in Nashville or the Nashville area. And I believe he played with the Allman Brothers at one point. And I've read articles where people say he's a phenomenal guitar player, just incredible. And he plays Squier guitars. Now, not Telecaster, I think he plays Squier Strats. And very often he plays just straight into an amp or maybe into like a tube screamer and an amp, and that's it. And people said he's one of the greatest guitar players they've ever seen. So that guy plays that great, and he's playing a Squier. And it just brings back to me the point that, you know, it's not about the instrument. It's about the player and your touch. And I'm old enough now where I'm not that hung up on the name. I kind of got over that when I moved to Ibanez Guitars in the 80s, instead of getting a Gibson. Like I originally wanted, I go way back to 79, I wanted the Gibson ES-175 because I grew up listening to Joe Pass and Steve Howe from Yes and all these guys that had a 175. I thought I'd love to have one of those. And yet, you know, I didn't get one. And I've read now of countless guitars that are dogs. They're not necessarily good just because it says Gibson. Same thing with Fender. I've played crappy, you know, countless crappy Fender guitars. When I was in the Marine Corps, they bought a 335 for me to use, and it was not a very good guitar. Wasn't knocked out by it. Even though I love the sound of Larry Carlton, you know, Mr. 335, and for a period, Robin Ford did that, and Clapton did that, and Lee Ritenour, all these people, right? B.B. King, on and on. So I love a semi-hollow body, but just because it says Gibson doesn't mean it's necessarily a great guitar. So I've kind of gotten beyond the thing of it has to have this name on the headstock. It's like, just how does it play? And this guitar really plays great. I'm totally happy with it. And even like I do some chord melody stuff solo with just my hands with no backing tracks. And it's just so easy to play. And I love how light it is. So what I'm trying to get at is why I would love to have the real Fender thin line. They're pretty expensive. And the issue for me is these less expensive guitars, I can go out and play at a restaurant or a winery or a club or whatever and not be concerned about taking this guitar out of my house. You know, as I used to have an L5. It was a beautiful guitar. A friend had given it to me. It was a gift. But I wouldn't want to take it to a gig. I'm going to make $50 at a gig. I'm going to take a $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 guitar to a $50 gig, and someone knocks it over and it's broken. It's damaged forever. You know. So all that to say, I'm thinking I'm kind of on this quest now for these less expensive guitars. I love this guitar. The only thing I would do at this point is bring it to my local shop and have them possibly put on flats. I certainly do the intonation because I don't have to do that because I'm inept. But it's super comfortable, and I'm really jazzed about the fact that it weighs just 5 pounds. It's incredible. And it's got a couple little dings, and I don't care about that. Like I love that with my classic vibe. It already, I don't know if it was supposed to be relic. There's a couple little dings and scratches, and I kind of like that I can ding it and it adds more to the character of it. And if I hold on to this guitar, which I think I will, if it gets dings or scratches, this is part of the story. I'm to a point where I'm just trying to make the best music I can with the tools that I have. And I'm a teacher. You know, I was retired. I'm teaching again, but I'm going to be done here in about another week and a half and go back to retirement on a pension. And my wife is not a musician, so she's like, yeah, we're not spending thousands of dollars on guitars. Frankly, I don't need it at this point. You know, I've done a video on my channel that says, how many guitars do you really need? And I already have more than I really need. But all that to say, if you're not familiar with these guitars, I'd say check them out. And hopefully you can get beyond the name and just play it and give it an honest assessment. I'd be interested to hear what you guys think out there, or if you have other guitars that are worth checking out. As always, enjoy the journey. God bless. Take care.